very good morning, children. Hope you are doing fine. Yesterday we have seen the structure of the nephron. I hope you have seen the video and also you have practiced the diagram and also you remember the different parts, because all the parts sound like we are going to see in this particular session. So each and every part, if you are able to remember them, so that's fine. If you're not able to remember them, please go back and watch the video and come back and watch this video. Otherwise it will be a bit problematic, because you will not be able to understand what is being taught. So watch the previous video of the structure of the nervous system and then come back and watch this video. So we shall go on. Right now we have seen that this is the structure of the nephron. What is nephron? Nephron is the functional, structural and functional unit of the kidney. That is already we have studied, right? So these are present in the kidneys, and these are the structures which filter the blood and produce the urine. So that is how these nephrons are very important. That is the reason why these are called as the structural and functional unit of the kidneys. So here you are seeing the nephron, right? So yesterday we discussed that there is a part here, right, which is efferent arteriole. Efferent arteriole, right? And then this enters inside, okay, and forms a tubular network here, a capillary network here, and again comes back, okay, comes out. So this is a cup-shaped structure, right? So this cup-shaped structure, is called as Bowman's capsule. Bowman's capsule. And then also we have seen that the Bowman's capsule and the glomerulus. This one is the glomerulus. Both together are called as the Malpighian body. Okay, this is already we have discussed yesterday. Okay, children, right? Now coming to the very important part. So that is the glomerulus. You can see here, this is the efferent arteriole and the other one is the efferent arteriole. Efferent arteriole. So now here what happens is, this is connected to the renal artery. Renal artery, right? So when the blood comes into this particular, efferent arteriole, okay, it comes into the glomerulus, right, which is the capillary network. And now when it comes here inside, what happens is, this glomerulus, right, this I'm talking about the glomerulus, when the blood is traveling in here, already we have seen that these are the cells which are called as the podocytes, which are having the pores in them, and they are made up of the very thin membrane which is called as the squamous epithelium. Squamous epithelium. So these are having the pores in them. So what happens is, when the blood travels in this network, in this capillary network, what happens is, whatever the contents are there in the blood. So remember that whatever the contents are there in the blood, all these contents, they will come into the Bowman's capsule. They will come into the Bowman's capsule. So let's make it a bit small so that it will be easy for you. Whatever the contents are there in the blood now, they will be randomly thrown into they will get filtered out, and where they will come, they will come into the Bowman's capsule. Okay, so what are these materials which are coming into the Bowman's capsule? The things, already the substances which are there in the blood. Okay, now this glomerulus doesn't know what it is giving out, what it is filtering out, what it is sending, the things which is sent by them it doesn't know that. So the glomerulus is not aware of what are things going out of this capillary network into the Bowman's capsule. So it is sending all the things randomly, right? Now if you just take the example of the blood and all, what are things which are present in the blood? There are so many things which are present in the blood, isn't it? Water, blood cells, RBC, WBC, blood platelets, and heparin, the sodium, calcium, chloride, sodium chlorides, okay, and different ions, right? And then we can see the urea, uric acid, creatinine. So different things. If you come to the second page of the unit, there's a list of all the different things which are present in the blood. So all these things are there in the blood, and when it is filtered, so then what happens here is whatever the things which are there in the blood, they are randomly sent into the Bowman's capsule. Now we'll see what are the things which are sent into the Bowman's capsule. Okay, so I'm rubbing this here. Okay, children, so I'm just trying to rub this out. Okay, and again I'm rubbing the efferent arteriole also, so that I just want to make some space to write this. So what are the things which are sent out here? The things which are sent out is the glucose, okay, amino acids, sodium chloride ions, water, okay, even water is also sent out, okay, and then some other waste materials which are there in the blood. The waste materials which are there in the blood, all these are sent out. So whatever which comes here, except all these things comes out, except the blood cells. Except the blood cells, everything comes out into the Bowman's capsule. So now this process is called as the ultrafiltration. It is called as the ultrafiltration. So what is ultrafiltration? The filtration which is occurring in the glomerulus. The filtration which is occurring in the glomerulus is basically called as the ultrafiltration. In this ultrafiltration, what is happening here? Whatever the waste materials are there along with the glucose, amino acids, sodium chloride, water, okay, or urea, uric acid, creatinine, so whatnot. So all these things will randomly come into the Bowman's capsule. So now here the glomerulus doesn't know what it is sending out, right? Except the blood cells and all, everything comes here. And now because they are getting filtered from the capillary network, we call this as the ultrafiltration. And the liquid which is coming out here, is also called as the primary urine. It is called as the primary urine. So whatever the contents are there, they are coming into where? They are coming into the Bowman's capsule. And now after that, the blood is now absolutely thick, right? Till then it was free flowing, but now this blood becomes a bit thick because it sent out the water, it sent the glucose, amino acids, sodium chloride, water, mineral salts, and what not. So everything are sent out except the blood cells. So this blood will become a bit thick, and that thickened blood will go out through the efferent arteriole. Now you know that this is the efferent arteriole, right? So now here I'm rubbing this efferent arteriole and this squamous epithelium. So if you want to make sure that you remember the parts and all, write them in a paper, or make sure that you draw this diagram as it is. So in the same way, the way I'm writing, you also write in the same way, so that you will not miss any kind of points, right? And now whatever the primary urine comes out, that is very much equal to blood, except blood cells. So what is this process called as? Ultrafiltration. And what has come into the Bowman's capsule? That is primary urine. Primary urine is equal to blood except the blood cells. Okay. Now coming to the next point. Now you can see here the efferent arteriole. Now it comes out, okay, and now it runs parallel. Throughout the renal tubule. So whatever the tubule which is here, so along with the tubule, this particular efferent arteriole will run. Okay, so it will keep on going parallelly. Okay, so it will keep on going parallelly. Okay, so now this one is also called as the vasa recta. It's called as the vasa recta. Okay, so now here, what is the filtration which has happened here? The filtration happened in the glomerulus, right? So what is collected here? Primary urine is collected here. Now this primary urine, which is equal to blood, now what it will do? It will start flowing into the next part of the nephron. That is what is this one? PCT. What is PCT? Proximal convoluted tubule. Proximal convoluted tubule. That is the second part after the glomerulus here, after the malpighian body. You can see the proximal convoluted tubule, right? So now this is all like a coiled structure, right? This is all coiled structure. So we call it as the proximal convoluted tubule. So the blood directly now comes into the primary convoluted tubule. Okay, children? Now, this blood is absolutely thick. Okay, this blood is absolutely thick and all. Now what will happen here is, so whatever the the fluid which is coming out, the primary urine which is traveling through the proximal convoluted tubule, from that I'm talking about the primary proximal convoluted tubule here. From that, so now here already we have seen that there is a tubular network. Okay, that is the blood vessel which we are seeing here, which is also known as the vasa recta. So now this particular network is now running parallelly throughout the tubule, that is a renal tubule, right? So now this one is very much equal to the blood except the blood cells, and now this also has lot of components here, right? They have the glucose, amino acids, sodium chloride, water, all the other waste materials, and also now, but actually these are very, very important to the body. So because glomerulus doesn't know what it is sending out, it sends something randomly outside. So now these things are very much important to the blood or to our body. So they should be reabsorbed into the blood. So what will happen here is, into this particular network, what will happen here is, see, the water, okay, and then glucose, then amino acids, then NaCl, okay, water, glucose, amino acids, NaCl, okay, and all the other bicarbonates which are already present in this particular fluid will get reabsorbed into this, will get absorbed by the capillary network or the tubular network or the vasa recta, which is following parallelly, right? So what are things which are there in this now? Primary urine in the tube, in the PCT, that is the proximal convoluted tubule, now entered into where? They directly entered into what? Into the tubular cavity. Okay, so now this particular blood which is traveling here, like glucose, almost 100% of glucose is absorbed into the blood. Almost 100% of the amino acids are absorbed into the blood. When you come to the potassium, around 65% of potassium is absorbed into the blood. Okay, and when you come to the water, around 75% of water is also reabsorbed by what? By the PCT. PCT. Okay, so this is called as the tubular reabsorption. It is called as tubular reabsorption. Okay, so water, glucose, amino acids, NaCl, bicarbonates, potassium, whatever was there in the primary urine now entered into the blood vessel. Okay, this is called as the tubular reabsorption. Okay, so now this particular after this process, so now this blood will keep on moving. Okay, will keep on moving, and when it comes to they will come to the next stage, which is called as the loop of Henle. Loop of Henle. So in the loop of Henle, what happens here is mostly the concentration of water will take place here. Okay, so the concentration, that means, so whatever the water which is here will be absorbed, extra water, right? Here only 75% of the water is absorbed, right? So remaining water, the water which is there, so a little bit of that also will be absorbed by the absorbed, or it will be secreted outside, and that will enter into the blood vessel, that is the vasa recta. And then, so that is the only work which is happening in the loop of Henle. So when the water is given out, the urine which is coming, the primary urine which is coming here, that will become more concentrated. The primary urine will become more and more concentrated. Why it is becoming concentrated? Because the water is completely taken out, isn't it? The water is taken out. The glucose, amino acids, NaCl, all bicarbonate, everything is gone. So what is the fluid which is coming out from this nephron? Okay, from the from the tube here, that will also giving out the water. So whatever the thing which is over here now, that will become more and more concentrated. And after this, they enter into the next part, that is the distal convoluted tubule. It is called as the distal convoluted tubule. So now what happens in the distal convoluted tubule? So here what happens is the tubular secretion will happen here. What happens here? Tubular secretion will happen here. So in this tubular secretion, so what are the waste products are there which are produced by the blood capillaries in the urinary tubule? It ensures removal of all the waste products from blood. So children, what happens here is the tubular secretion will happen here. Now what is tubular secretion? What is tubular secretion? So tubular secretion is nothing but, it is an active secretion of the waste products which are there in the blood, which are there in the capillaries. This is the capillary network, right, which you can see here, the tubular network. So what are the waste products are still there, like urea, uric acid, potassium, okay, and also all the other waste products like creatinine, okay, sodium and hydrogen ions and all, whatever it is. So to maintain the proper balance of all the different ions, to maintain the proper levels of water, to maintain the proper levels of sodium, to maintain the proper levels of urea, uric acid, whatever the things are there in the body, they should be maintained in a proper way. The pH should be maintained in a proper way. So to maintain that, so whatever the waste products are there in the blood, okay, or in the the same blood is in the tubular network, that will enter into the distal convoluted tubule, and that is why we are calling it as the tubular secretion. Tubular secretion. So in this tubular secretion, what happens here? Removal of all the waste materials will take place from the tubular network into distal convoluted tubule, right? Now what comes into the distal convoluted tubule is nothing but a urine. Is nothing but the urine. So whatever is coming into this tubule, now that will get into the next part, that is this one is called as the collecting tubule. It is called as the collecting tubule. Now why it is called as the collecting tubule, or why it is called as the collecting duct? Because this nephron, this particular nephron I'm talking about, is connected to this, and what is the urine which is there, what are the filtered, right, what are the things which are there in this nephron are being sent into what? Into where? Into the collecting duct. In the same way, each and every opening like this I have drawn, no, they are connected to some of the nephrons again. So they are also connected to the some of the nephrons. So like this, what happens is from each and every nephron, whatever the urine is there, that will be collected into this duct. And that is the reason why we are calling it as the collecting duct. So in this collecting duct, all the urine is collected, and from here, what happens to the urine? That is what we are going to see tomorrow. Okay, children? So until then, see you all. Have a great day. So, but don't forget. So children, just don't forget to practice this and also remember all these things. Like I know it's a bit tough for you to remember all these things, but if you listen it carefully and write all the points on the paper and make sure that you take the notes of this, like it will be very easy for you, and also you can understand it more better if you do that. Otherwise, it will be something a kind of tough job for you. Okay, so but actually it's a very easy one. So hardly what you will remember is glomerular filtration, that is the ultrafiltration. Primary urine goes to the PCT and reabsorb all the required materials into the blood, and then okay, it goes to the loop of Henle, and here concentration of the urine will take place, that is water is removed here, and then whatever the thing is there, that will go to the DCT, that is the distal convoluted tubule. In the distal convoluted tubule, what are the waste materials are there in the waste products are there in the blood vessels, they will enter into the DCT, like urea, uric acid, creatinine and whatnot. So everything will enter here, and after that what happens, the urine will be sent to the like collecting duct, and from collecting duct it will be released outside. Okay, so here one thing you just remember that, that is potassium. Okay, so I'm writing here the different things which are being sent here: urea, uric acid, creatinine. Okay, so sodium, chloride, sodium chlorides and all. So all these are the different substances which are there in the blood, but which are not useful to our body, which should not be there in our body, right? So if they are in the body, that will definitely disturb the balance. So that's why they are sent back to the renal tubule, that is the DCT, distal convoluted tubule, and from there it will enter into the collecting tube. So before that, now try to remember this one, and it will be very useful to you, so that if it comes in the examinations also, you will be able to write it. So this is a very important question which usually comes in the examination, right? Very important for the examination point of view. So remember it and write it well. Okay, children. So by this we come to the end of the session, and tomorrow we'll meet again. And we will see the other one, that is the mechanism of the, you can say concentration of the urine and functions of the ureters, functions of the urinary bladder and urethra, and also we'll see micturition. So these are the different topics we are going to see tomorrow. So until then, have a great day. God bless you. Take care.